Hey guys, welcome
Perfect.
again. We've got another episode of Cardboard Conversations. Thank you everybody for joining us this evening. Happy Saturday. Hey
What up?
Bob, hey Matt, how you guys doing?
Yo, hey,
I'm
please
awake.
smash that like button out there, folks. If you like what we're doing, if you don't,
I
smash
subscribe,
the
share with your friends.
dislike.
Get right. The
And even if you
share,
don't
that
like us,
definitely helps.
subscribe, but smash the unlike. Subscribe so that you can smash dislike every week.
Yes, right. We need more haters. They're great for the channel, honestly.
Subscribe,
Honestly,
then unsubscribe, then say you're going to unsubscribe, then resubscribe, then unsubscribe again.
And then
Just
talk
to
about
play
it a
it
lot
out.
and how much we suck.
Yep.
I was saying that on somebody else's channel. I don't remember who I was on this week in the audience, and I was saying, we're not big enough to have the haters. We're not
Every
popular
now and
enough
then
to have
we'll get them. Every now and then I'll get them.
Yeah, but we don't have the
But-
troll that likes to shit on every
I
video
think,
that we
Matt,
make.
the problem is I don't make enough content for us to have consistent haters.
Well, you had the one hater. I'll never forget that, the one comment that was saying that. What do you say? You didn't have the face or the voice or something for doing YouTube or something.
I was saying I didn't have a voice for, or I had a voice for, or a face for radio or something along those lines.
Oh, shit.
A face for
Some
radio
cliche-
and
some
a voice for
cliche
newspaper.
bullshit.
Yeah.
He's just
Anyway,
mad.
hey, at least you had a hater. I'm not even popular enough to have a hater.
Oh man, Matt. So looking at your background, Baldur's Gate 3, I have played that game so much, right? I don't think I've actually gotten to the city yet in any of my playthroughs. I've gotten very close in the one I've just been doing, but I take my time so much in that game that
You talking about
actually it
Evergrove?
definitely takes a while.
Are you talking
What's
about
that?
Baldur's Gate or Evergrove? You've never made it to the first city?
No, Baldur's Gate 3. To
Yeah,
Baldur's
yeah.
Gate.
Oh yeah. Okay. I thought you were saying you've never made it to the first city of the game. I'm like, holy shit, that's like the first 20 minutes.
No, man. I deal with those dryads and tieflings every single time. You kind of have to be able to progress.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm in Evergrove. I have the quest to go find Kelson. That's basically where I'm at.
I haven't done it yet. Like I looked at it and I don't know, just the die rolling kind of turns me off. I don't know.
That's what's amazing about it. See, I'm a big fan of Divinity, which didn't have any of the die rolls really.
Oh, really?
And then you add in the die rolls, and it's very D&D-esque. I would say it's D&D with multiple railroads. Like, you have choices, but they are limited. So, like, you can kind of do whatever you want, but at the same time, you also are railroaded in the number of options they give you. But it's very, very nice to have, like when you go to do like a charisma check, a little like UI pops up, and then depending on what your party situation is like, your party can like help you add in bonuses like guidance, for instance, as a normal cleric ability for Dungeons and Dragons. That's pretty common, reliable source of like a 1d4. They even go a step further and they allow you to do it like on the fly. Normally with guidance, you kind of have to have it already on you before you like make a check. Some DMs kind of allow you to do it, but it's technically a bonus action, so you can't like say something and then like the person's like, oh, guidance. Oh, after you said that guidance, it's like, well, no, the guidance should have already been happening. It's up for a duration of time, so it's nice.
Hey, what up, Solar God? Great to have you here tonight.
So far, the game's good.
So I mean, it's funny you bring up Baldur's Gate 3 because it's been kind of controversial in the news over this past couple of weeks with the supposed leak about the D&D sale, and a big part of that to Tencent was the success of Baldur's Gate 3. And I believe when I read in the article, it said, what is it? The parent studio that made Baldur's Gate 3 was Larian. Is that right?
Yeah, Larian Studios. Yep.
But they didn't have enough money to make the purchase bid for D&D, so they went to Tencent and tried to broker a deal with Tencent, and then WotC comes out or Hasbro comes out and says, no, none of this is true. We don't normally comment on social media, but no, we want to squelch it. Something feels like thou dost protest too much. That are they just saying that to kind of squelch it while deals are actually in the works, or maybe there's somebody else that has their hat in the ring and they don't want to spoil a bid from another company?
I don't know. I think opinion-wise, for me, I could not have thought of a better way for Hasbro and WotC to show that they were really not going to sell the company. And they've got to come out immediately, have the press release a message saying we're not going to do anything like that. And I think that that's really what they did. It could have definitely been a bigger show of will towards the game, say, hey, we're in fact working on new modules. We want to make this bigger and better. And I think that they were a bit lackluster in their enthusiasm, but I think their message and how they handled it was definitely right. And I can't imagine that with the blockbuster hit that was the D&D movie and how much return they get on licensing their product, they probably don't want to let that cash cow out of the pasture.
For those of you that aren't aware, basically what happened was about a week ago, maybe a little bit shorter than a week ago, maybe a couple days, 5 days ago or so, there was an article that was released stating basically that Wizards of the Coast was looking, or Hasbro was looking to sell their Dungeons and Dragons IP, and that Tencent was going to be a potential buyer. And they were in the works of talking. So that was a rumor. It wasn't it was a rumor from somebody from Tencent, from what I understand. And then, so people were like, whoa, that's insane. And then if you don't know who Tencent is, they buy a lot. They're a Chinese company that just buys a ton of different things. They own League of Legends. They own Path of Exile. They own...
They own the rights, if I understand correctly. Aren't they the gateway for World of Warcraft in China? Aren't they the ones that actually host?
Yeah, that's another thing they do. They're the gateway for a lot of different games. I think even Ark, the MMO Ark, not Survival Evolved, but the MMO Ark. Ooh, double
Solar
sub.
God, jeez Louise.
Well, yes, that is both of our subs there for 6 months on stream with us tonight. Thank you both very much. But
badass.
Yeah, I mean, we're doing good, Cosmic. Good to see you here. I missed you last week or two. But Tencent is not a small player in the scheme of things. They're like the juggernaut in China. Like when you think of games being online, so it surprises me a little bit if there would be some shenanigans coming out of there. So I don't know. I'm not a big conspiracy theorist, but I am going to be a little surprised if this is the last that we hear of this.
It is considered.
I would have loved it, to be honest.
Video game industry based on its equity investments.
Oh yeah, I think they own Discord. I think they own a lot. They own a metric ton.
They're like very big. As soon as I heard it was Larian and Tencent, I was like, there's some teeth to this.
The one thing that I really was interested in is if Hasbro was holding WotC back. I don't know. I mean, I don't know the inner workings of it. But typically what I like about Tencent so far, I mean, obviously they're a major conglomeration, so it's not necessarily the best. But the good thing about them is that they tend to just leave the companies alone. They'll buy the companies that are successful, and then they'll just let them do their thing. And they don't typically interfere too much. What they will do is they'll bring the game to market in China, and they'll basically have like the rights to do whatever they want in China. So like if you were to go play Path of Exile in China, it actually is tremendously different. I shouldn't say tremendously. There are a few factors that like the Chinese market wanted that GGG doesn't want in the normal game. But because Tencent owns it, they're just like, we're adding this. There's a death recap, which I don't know why we don't have. But like the last damage that kills you, it like shows you like you were killed by lightning damage, you were killed by fire damage. That's a pretty common. That should be a standard thing, but it's not. There's the pets. The pets in normal Path of Exile, the pets just are cosmetic, but in the Chinese version, they actually pick up currency for you. So then people were like, "Oh, that's pay to win." So there's a couple things like that are different, but other than that, they've really left the core game alone. There's like a skill tree planner in the game, which is really, really nice. There's like a few things that like we really wish would come to the normal game, but
I'd kind of like to highlight Richie's comment there about would be better if they had sold. I mean, it depends on whose perspective. From Hasbro's perspective, why the hell would they sell it? It doesn't make any sense. First of all, D&D is not a huge moneymaker. I hate to say it. The box office hit was considered a box office flop. It did not do particularly well.
I hated it.
I'm just saying it was.
Oh, people liked it. Some people, the non-D&D hardcore people, they liked it.
Money. I'm talking about as far as money. I remember watching an article talking about it. It did okay. But making money is not making a lot of money. Additionally, D&D, I know from talking to a number of different LGS is out there. There's a growing sentiment out there at LGS is that they don't like selling D&D products. A lot of them kind of describe it in a very negative way for D&D players, that they have this place and they come in and they don't buy a lot of product. They sit around trashing the place, clogging up the toilets, eating food, drinking drinks, making a wreck out of the place, but don't really spend the money like a TCG would. Right?
Hey, Cosmic agrees. Yeah.
That
So
they come in and
apparently
they play.
It made 208 million worldwide, which it says is falling short of its break-even point.
Right.
So,
like I said,
yeah,
it did not make money. So saying it was a box office smash, not. It just
And
wasn't.
then apparently there's a spin-off television series in development as well.
Oh, jeez.
Which I'll be honest, I did not like the movie. I thought the movie was very, I don't know.
Okay, I haven't seen it, but I was just to address Pat's point as far as like let's talk about because we're talking about the sell-off of D&D. I know that a lot of LGSs complain that they can't make money on D&D. That it costs them more money to host D&D, and they have to hold product for long periods of time, and you just don't sell it like you do other products in the store.
That's a very good point, especially with miniatures. And you guys could probably speak very well to that. I mean, with the prevalence of 3D printers nowadays, I mean, you can get, what is an SDK file for a good set of minis, and for $20, you have $500 worth of Dungeons and Dragons products. They charge ridiculous prices for a lot of that.
Well, and Amazon selling the books that will often go on sale and undercut what an LGS would sell it for. And once you buy a book, you don't need to keep going and buying books again. It's not. Yeah, it's not the super profitable branch of WotC. Sorry, it's just not.
Especially with the advent of technologies, most people have either a smartphone or a laptop.
A terrible movie, Cosmic.
Honestly though, Bob,
the guy with the blue lips.
I loved that movie. I'm a huge fan of just really.
It was so campy.
Movies. Man,
it was terrible.
Demolition
it was
Man.
The guy with the blue lips, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
One of the main guys had blue lips. That's all I remember from the movie. I remember it being pretty bad.
Yeah, and Richie, you make a good point as far as what it takes to get into D&D. I gotta say, if you want to be the DM, that's a pretty decent point. And Matt's experienced this, even hosting on the web. It can be an expensive hobby to get into, but one play group might well just need the player's guide. One person buys it, and everybody else gets the free rules that come off the internet. You can get a PDF and start playing.
SRD. System reference document.
And you have the whole Roll20 thing. At any rate, all I'm saying is that D&D, as far as an enterprise, not super profitable.
Right, and I think that speaks to it well, is because there are so many free ways to get into it, and then also it's theater of the mind. So really, if you have the book and you make some core rules and choices on how you guys want to play, hey, what up, Hillbilly, Mrs. Hillbilly? You can just incorporate and make your own things. When I was doing a bit of DMing, I was actually doing the first opening quest in World of Warcraft, and I just had that small play area outside of the big castle when you spawn as a human, and you're running around just trying to help out some of the guards. That was the first couple of play sessions me and my pod had. And that's one of the things when they talked about changing the open gaming license a few months back, is that the product's in our hands and it's kind of effervescent, where it stays in this evergreen state. So you can constantly make new maps for it. You can draw them out yourself, get on all sorts of editors. And it's difficult for people to do that same thing in other types of games, specifically video gaming. You can cook up your own cards. And
it wouldn't surprise me if they spun it off, right? But what's my bigger question, and I didn't hear anybody ask this, was what does that mean for WotC? Because that kind of definitely drives a clear wedge. Because WotC is a subsidiary of Hasbro. They're Hasbro's their parent company, and you're saying what? Now we're just going to come in and we're going to split your company, like right down the middle.
Take it.
And I was wondering how that was supposed to take place, but I'll be curious to see if this plays out. I would give it about a year or so. If we don't hear anything more in the next by 2025, then it probably truly was just a rumor. But I would be very surprised, because this wasn't just like some left field kind of thing coming from Tencent and supposedly with Larian, and it makes a lot of sense, because Baldur's Gate 3 is the hot hand at D&D. Like, let's just be real. Of all the things that have come out, the truly smashing success, if you want to say that, related to D&D, certainly wasn't the D&D crossover sets in Magic. It wasn't the D&D movie. The biggest success in recent history with D&D clearly is Baldur's Gate 3, as far as like money maker, winner, chicken dinner. And if they were going to broker a deal because they couldn't quite afford it themselves, the parent company Larian, and get in bed with Tencent, a big powerhouse with money, makes a lot of sense. So it was, well done if that's an onion kind of rumor, but we'll see. We'll see if this is the end of this.
What kind of range is that? How do they not know?
Ridiculous range.
Anywhere between 5 and 27 million.
That's kind of 1 in a million copies somewhere.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Like, how do you not even know how many copies you sell?
I've been wanting to play Baldur's Gate 3 for many months now. It's been out for a while now, but I played a lot of Divinity with my buddy, and I don't know exactly, we just have had a lot of games in between. Like he's playing the new Persona 3 right now. It was like a remaster Persona 3 or some kind of new Persona game. I've never played any of the Persona, so I don't know. But anyways, so we've just been kind of putting it on the back burner. Another thing that sometimes I go anti-hype. Like when something is super, super hyped, I'm like, it's probably not as good as people say. So I don't want to like get disappointed by being hyped up about a game sometimes. I don't know, it's weird. I'm a fickle guy. Because I played Power World, but Power World was free. I had to actually buy Baldur's Gate 3 for a full $60. So I can't believe it hasn't been on sale for one time.
Power World is a great price. I mean,
you can't be free. Like I'll play any free game. I'll try any free game basically. If it looks good, I'll play it.
Oh, Matt, speaking of free games, if you have Xbox Game Pass, Brotato just came out on Game Pass. It is another roguelite. It's very similar to Vampire Survivors. I think you'd dig doing that for at least, a couple of hours. You'll have some fun with it. Yeah, it's called Brotato.
I started playing Death Must Die, which was another roguelike. Another screen blasting.
Oh yeah, this is his big monthly thing. I don't mind going and supporting him. Kind of wiped out, got back from painting mini.
Hillbilly, your dinos kicking some butt. Big ups to you, buddy.
There are a couple things else I wanted to talk about. We kind of got sidetracked there with the Baldur's Gate. I mean, this is pre-release weekend for Murders in Karloff Manor.
Yeah, and the crowd
and from all indications, it's not doing so hot.
Rudy's Rudy. If you know Alpha Investments, he did not sell out of his collector boxes. It got to 80%. Yeah, almost every other box that he's released recently, anything Magic, has been selling out. It did not sell out. I never got the last email saying it sold out, and he was selling the boxes for cheaper than any place. It was like $209, I think. So, like, realistically, if you don't even sell out of that, I don't know. You ain't gonna sell out ever.
I think that that's an interesting thought. Is Bob and I were talking a bit earlier about companies holding inventory of Magic the Gathering product from quarter to quarter, and how that reflects poorly on the company themselves. Rudy, on the other hand, has always been lauded over for holding inventory for quarter to quarter and year to year. And now is it going to be just that left with heavy bags kind of feeling? As people just slowly.
Well, I would take a grain of salt with everything that Rudy says. He doesn't sell through everything and have all that shit behind him in all those videos. I'm just going to say that right now.
He's okay with not selling through stuff because it leaves him things to have for later on.
So then did he really sell through it? He sold through what he ex post facto sold through what I wanted to. Like
that's what he's honest with that.
That guy is.
He says he always keeps a pallet for himself.
He's the modern day P.T. Barnum. That's all I'm going to say with all of that. You don't know shit about, like, if you, like, we should have Pat's video up here right now. When it comes to Rudy, let's just be specific. Rudy, we don't know shit. Rudy don't know shit. You don't know shit. Yeah. Like, that guy, I wouldn't trust like 90% of what comes out of that guy's mouth. And I'm not bashing on Rudy, but be aware, he is out to sell you product, period.
Yeah. I mean, that's yes.
So
100%.
you know,
That's what
I
his, like,
don't
entire Patreon is based upon is sales.
But
Well, there's a really cool thing
anyway,
that he's doing in the future. I forget exactly when, but he's doing a pricing based on loyalty, like loyalty pricing, I guess is the best way to put it. So the longer you've been a patron, the cheaper you'll be able to get stuff. So I've been a patron for a few years now, so I actually could be able to get some cool
okay,
deals.
but let's also take that into account. He says he's selling things cheaper than anybody else, but you tack on the monthly fees and the months that you don't buy anything,
It's still
averaging
cheaper.
that in your price, huh?
No, I mean just the last purchase I did from him, I saved over $250. I'm
Okay.
sorry, that pays for well over a year of Patreon. Like I don't know.
Okay, and when I was there, I you know what I got? I got one case of Commander Legends, and then I got the Monarch deal for $1,000. So
Wow.
yeah, I'm in
What
a
a steal.
giant hole when it comes to Rudy, and I was a patron of his for 7 months. So no, I
Okay,
I
opened
don't
3 boxes and I lost 20% on every box, so that's cool.
again. Well, but you
yeah,
can't
well,
help that. That's not Rudy's fault.
That's because you opened them. Yeah, that's a separate
Yeah,
thing.
that's
Yeah.
your fault for opening.
If I didn't open them, they'd actually be worth more than I paid, which is
You got
That's
them at
cool.
a good
What I
price.
said a long time. And you know, let's be transparent. So I have to confess, I've confessed publicly on a couple of different sites already, and I've confessed to Pat and Matt already. So I'll confess to all of you. I
The hat's
recently,
a fake.
as yesterday
Yeah.
morning, dropped $900 on a case of Lord of the Rings draft boxes. So I just wanted to have some. I
Draft?
figured it's time to pull the trigger. Yeah, of course I want draft.
gross.
Everything else is trash.
Richie Dub says he's been attending POA meetings for 12 months. You know, Pack Openers Anonymous. And Cosmic, totally right. You know, I think one of the silly things is to buy into the hype. And as anybody that's spent at least a couple of months in the Magic buyers atmosphere, buying into stuff, that FOMO never works in anybody's favor. You know, it's
I'm glad
never
I never bought that kit. I thought about it.
But Ed, if he's still here, he took it in the shorts. I think he got a case of the unsanctioned or something that like the worst unset that's ever been released.
Yeah, it was basically a Rudy loot box. Like I was like, nah, I'm good.
But you know, so that's kind of like the bigger news is that you know, this is pre-release weekend on a very product, and people keep trying to revisionist history on the set just before this one. To help, why am I blanking? The hell was the set before Ravnica, right? And it can't be doing super well because guess what dropped this week? Card Kingdom doing its best version of Amazon dump on that.
Yeah, but Card Kingdom's prices are always high, so their sale price is probably the standard price. Let's be honest.
Their sale price on the collector box is $213. Their sale price,
low, considering 258 is what the lowest on TCG is.
Yeah, and the was it the play booster? Is that what that was? Was like 129.
No, they don't have play boosters in that yet. The most recent set is the only one with play boosters.
Yeah. The remastered, right? It was like 129 or something for the draft box.
That's a pretty good deal. I mean, Ravnica Remaster has some cool cards in it.
Okay, first off, I'm going to point this out because Pat's going to love this.
Yeah,
Dominaria Remastered was all the way. Dominaria Remastered got all the way down to 104, the lowest I saw it. And in my opinion, was a far better set than Ravnica Remastered. So just, you know, fair warning for folks out there putting like these imaginary values of what cards should be based on some weird ass factors on whatever the distributors charge. But the reality is, you know, they wouldn't be selling, Card Kingdom wouldn't be selling these boxes at those prices if they could have gotten the regular suggested prices that everybody else is charging.
I mean, they're sold out. I'll tell you that.
Yeah, they sold out because they dropped it down so low. That's what a dump does. But that was a remastered set. This set you just said was $209 for the collector boxes and didn't sell out. Well, yeah,
from Rudy.
For $4 more, they could have gotten the remastered collector box at the same time. So, anyways, all I'm saying is that for this year so far,
I mean, 208 for collectors and 120 for play boosters right off of TCG. So I mean,
Yeah. Well, but as of yesterday, they were $219. Obviously, the pre-release price once the box releases, it'll go down more.
that's what's like even crazier about this is that's a very low price for a collector booster box coming out. You know, for one of the
Well, there's
newest
not the set's not bad, but I don't actually see it. Like,
There's the chart that we love. Woo! It's like a toboggan slope.
my favorite. And then you get right at the end, and it's like a really big, like you launch in the air, and then you hit the ground. Yeah, and you get hit even harder.
Look, bang. Yeah.
So again, I wouldn't be rushing out to buy anything. You know, we're almost a year after release for Lord of the Rings is when I'm finally caving and buying. And
this right here is when people thought the product came out already. I also thought this product came out a week ago.
I'm gonna definitely pick up some play boosters. I'll probably pick up once. I think Rudy's doing a sale in the next week. I think I will 100% buy at least 2.
Yeah, I'll be honest. I have no plans. Like Lord of the Rings, I was super hyped on for 2 years prior to now.
Yeah.
But lots of things went. Mistakes were made, and
mistakes were made.
I had to.
Tune in next week to that wonderfully titled episode. Mistakes were made.
I finally decided to cave and buy it because I don't know if they're gonna drop off anymore. The Lord of the Rings draft boxes. 150 seems to be about where they settled, and that's about it. And I just wanted to have some Lord of the Rings. I was asking myself, and I was talking. Actually, Richie Dubs, and you can blame him. We were talking about it when I was hemming and hawing about pushing the button yesterday morning. I mean, he's like, well, kind of better to have it on hand and not really need it. Are you in a financial spot you have to worry about it? And there's so many things that go into that. I'm not even going to unpack that here on the show. With all the race swapping and value and all that. And I'm like, well, do I really want to have it on hand? If somewhere down the road I decide that I would like to play Magic with somebody who doesn't know Magic and we're going to draft and whatnot, and we have the Lord of the Rings. Like if it wasn't Lord of the Rings, I definitely wouldn't have bought it. So there you go. Chalk one up to crossover IPs.
I think
a spoiler alert for okay, you got to stop.
Just put it right in front of your face.
I don't think that works, does it? Oh, maybe it does.
Oh, look at
that. Is that Phyrexian Altar?
Let me just turn this off.
I think that's Baron's Tomb. Yeah, it's backwards.
Is it backwards?
Yeah.
Shazam!
I got a foil Surge Ancient Tomb.
It's
worth like 92 or something like that. So
dang.
Where'd you get that?
That was a spoiler for the big. I actually do have the three cases opened, and I have videos out. There's a little nick on at the top.
3 cases?
Of it, which is really annoying. Or not cases, collector boxes. Yeah, 3 cases would be.
Is that
quite
your
expensive.
big hit?
Yeah, this is the big hit from the Lord of the Rings box. None of the boxes did bad. They all were above 80%, and then that 80% was removing all cards $4 and lower. So like I even went like $4 and lower, as opposed some people go like $2 and lower. So
not bad.
I didn't do bad. Like the one box was a break even. Lord of the Rings was like a 2. I think it was like a 215, and so it was like an okay box. Like without this card, it was basically a really bad box. But luckily, I got one hit.
And I got to say, I think my Magic purchases for the year will probably be solely the Fallout decks. And that is, even if I do buy into them, there is still the very good option of just proxying the shit out of them. Because that's my plan for really how I'm going to be interacting with Magic for the majority of this year coming up. I don't foresee myself buying any actual licensed Magic the Gathering product, but some of the great cards that are going to be coming out, like Matt described, Delighted Halfling, that's going to go in decks. I'm just not going to buy it. I'm just going to get it proxied up for like 30 cents on the dollar.
I did pull one Delighted Halfling.
Just 30 cents.
I mean, I don't. I don't say I'm not going to buy any. As I said before, I'm going to buy. I might even buy the Just Add Milk Secret Lair as well. I don't know if you saw that one. It's got
the
soccer
cereal
in it.
boxes. Yeah.
And I had the
Those are
first one, and I really like that art style. So here we have my purchases this year for Magic. I bought a couple of Commander decks for Mr. Llama SE for appreciation for coming on our show. One for him and his wife, so they have something to play Commander Raids, which he said he wants to do. I have an email about that.
Cool.
Hopefully she got it today. I have to reach back out and figure out whether she got it or not. And they have the rigs, the top-down rigs, to be able to play. So that's very purpose-built why I bought those 2 decks. I bought the case of Lord of the Rings draft boxes, and I spoke why, because I just, in my squirrel stash, I want to have Lord of the Rings boxes just to crack at some point in the future, and I don't know where the prices are going to go from here on Lord of the Rings. I think it'll be very hard for them once it goes out of print to spin that back up again, and who knows when that's going to be. Probably another year, I guess, is how long they're probably going to print it. Maybe like a Modern Horizons 2 type thing. But I figured, I doubt they're going to get much cheaper. If they get cheaper, I don't think they're going to get much cheaper. And I'd like to have it for in the future. I still like Magic, folks, and I like Lord of the Rings, so it made sense to me. And then I'm getting the 2 Secret Lairs. One for sure, the hard boiled one, the one I expressed last week, with the Pulp Fiction covers.
Oh, is that what it's
really like that one? Hard boiled, yeah.
What?
But it's part of the super drop. Like they're being very weird, because I thought it was supposed to come out today on whatever news article I saw, but it's actually February 5th, and they haven't spoiled it all. So it's kind of very weird that they're not spoiling everything that's in it. It's the Winter Super Drop 2023 or something. And it's like, well, that's weird because it's 2024.
No, it's just 2024.
Oh, does it? Okay. And they've showcased just a couple parts of it, but they haven't fully spoiled it. And we're 2 days before the drop comes out, which I'm a little confused by. But they have the Just Add Milk part 2. And I like that art style very much. I like the whimsical, goofy. I know, Matt, you hate the Crater Hoof Behemoth with the googly dude from the Extra Life.
Okay, I
showed
hated
it to you.
all my
I hate
too.
that.
Yeah, like legitimately, it looked like kids drew it. And you know why, Bob? Because kids drew it. And that is just unprofessional put on a Magic card. And, at least...
No, I'm talking about the one that the professional artist did from the kids' rendition. I don't like the kids' rendition one. No offense to the kids that drew it.
God damn, Richie, you are on it tonight, man.
But, yeah, I like that one the best. But I like goofy Magic cards. That's why I made that playmat with Reject. I love that artwork. Anyways, I like whimsical. And... I like that Pulp Fiction, but I'm buying both of those not for their value, not for the great cards that are in it. I'm buying it because of the art style alone, period. And I just want to be able to open a binder and go, oh, that's kind of cool looking. Which, if I go back and ever buy the panoramic sets for Lord of the Rings, that's on my radar. That 4 box sets of
it's like
panoramic.
That's pretty solid. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm kind of hoping it'll drop in price, as we get farther away from release, that because it doesn't look like it's like crushing it. It seems widely available. It's not like they're getting gobbled up in droves. So the point is if you look at all of it, what I'm buying has nothing to do with the hype over the last 4 years, right? It has nothing to do with, oh, look at these super awesome cards that are in any of this. Oh, you're getting it because you're FOMOing out, or you're speculating on prices going up. With everything that I'm buying, literally, if they went to 0, would make no difference. 0.0% difference.
Well, that's one of the things for me about proxying and such is that they're already they are the epitome of game pieces at that point. Yep. And to that note, some of the things that are free in Magic are some of the best things, like Commander Raids. So little preview for you guys. I've actually been cooking up a Fallout raid monster, so stay tuned on the Commander Raids Discord, and you'll be getting to play test some of that soon.
I have less than 2 months to update the app, or else apparently my account gets closed because you have to have some kind of activity, which is kind of bullshit considering I paid for the developer account. But I guess that's a thing. It was like, you have 60 days.
Revision, damn it.
Well, I do need to update the app, so like I get it, but like that's a little bullshit that I have to do something every 6 months. Come on,
You just go in and change like the
change 2 words.
Right? Yeah, just
But yeah,
pushing it
I'll
up.
update the app. I've been meaning I need to do it. It's just you know, I'd just rather do
I
10 other
totally get
things.
you,
You know,
man. Our world will suck you right in.
I'm actually almost done with Power World. I think
done.
I'm max
There's an end?
level. Yeah. I mean, it's just like any other game. You're done when you're
Yeah.
done. You just
Oh,
Yeah.
you
Pat,
just
I
stop
want
playing.
you to do a live commentary on that video I sent you. So
I saw
Oh,
that,
my.
and I loved it, and I want to. What's funny? So Bob had sent me a video of someone's base in Power World, just a pretty nice, well-made wooden base,
big,
and
huge, a lot of effort.
He's just in awe, shocked and awed as everything is just on fire, burning in front of him, and there's absolutely nothing he can do to stop it from just spreading and destroying everything.
That's why you build your base out of stone. Why would you build your base out of wood?
I love wooden
Oh,
bases.
dude,
They look great.
did you watch the video that I linked?
No.
Oh, you should watch that shit. It is, dude's like,
It's pretty damn funny.
I'm like,
It looked.
stop
I don't
this.
know why, but if I remember correctly,
It happened so fast too.
Oh, okay.
Yes, I
missed
actually
this one.
did turn off the raids. I just found it not to be fun anymore, especially because one of my bases is on top of a mountain, so nobody can come and attack. It just screws with the AI of all my, hard workers. I'm not saying that.
I just turned off damage to buildings. They can't damage my buildings. So I still have raids, but they just can't damage my buildings.
I mean, I think that POW World is for real. I think it's here to stay. I think it's going to be part of video
absolutely.
game anthologies from here moving out.
A great point to that is that Microsoft made a press statement saying that as a parent company to Pocket Pair, it being on Game Pass, they want to do as much as they can to help maintain the game and get further content out. So there's actually going to be a lot of.
Well, yeah, because it sold like 5 million copies already. Like, of course they want to help it.
5 million? You're very, very short.
Yeah, I think it's 8 million.
It was at 3 million, like the first
8 million.
3 days.
It was 8 million in the first like 7 days. And that was just on Steam alone.
Well, yeah. Oh, apparently now worldwide is 19 million players, 17 million copies sold on Steam, 7 million on Game Pass.
Okay. With 19 million players, that means 19 million copies of the game, at least.
No. 12 million copies sold on Steam, 7 million people played on Game Pass. Game Pass is free. Wow, Game Pass is a subscription, so they didn't pay for the game.
12 million at $30 a pop. That's pretty solid.
Yeah, it's decent money. I have to imagine they're profitable now. I hope.
They had a team of 40. Like I did the math on it, and it was something ridiculous. Like
the game is okay. It's not better than Ark Survival Evolved. It's not better than Valheim.
You can't say that. According to you, it's not better. Some people love it way more.
And this is all my opinion. I mean, yeah, because people are Google Gaga over Pokemon. But if you just take the core aspect of it, Ark Survival Evolved is leaps and bounds better. But I will say it's only leaps and bounds better because it's been out for a very long time. This is still in pre-alpha or pre-release, It's early days. So I can see the game taking off and being better than it is.
Preview or whatever they
right now, the AI of the monsters makes me cringe to the fucking max. It's horrible. You will throw the monster at your furnace, and it's supposed to assign the monster to the furnace, and then it's like, oh, you want me to go chop down that tree 5 miles that way? Okay, and it just fucking runs off. I'm like, no, pick up the thing, throw it at the furnace, and it's like, okay, I'll go mine that rock. It's like, what are you doing? And
I've
then
had,
combat
experiences with it, to say the best.
Yeah, it's just the game is definitely early release. The tuning of bosses is very. There's a boss that's level 50. I'm level 50. I took my level 50 monster over there. I throw it at it. He fucking hit him for 80% of his hit points in like the first attack. I'm like, okay, I guess I can't fight this level 50 boss at the same level as me. Yeah, it's like Palladius. It's some guy in the desert. It's like a dual boss. Yeah, you just can't fight those.
Regardless of what
as someone who's played both Ark, you've played Minecraft as well, Terraria. You've played a lot of different survival games. Do
Valheim.
you think seeing this in the state it is now, do you think that Palworld could be as good or better than some of the AAA mainline releases we've seen in the survival gaming category?
I don't know. A lot of the game's success, I think, will come from the developers of the game. We'll just use Valheim as an example. When Valheim first came out, it blew up, very similar to Palworld. Like out of nowhere, they got like millions of copies sold in the matter of like a week. They blew up a lot. And then the developers, they fucking crashed and burned. They're so slow to do anything. They are the slowest game company. It's been years since they've done what they promised they would do in 1 year. And if Pocket Pals, is that what it's called? Pocket World?
Pair.
Yeah. Okay, Pocket Pair. Pocket, never mind. If they if they follow that same route, then no, the hype is gonna die down, and then there's gonna be a still large following for it because it's a good game. But I think that it has the potential to be great, sure, but it's limited. Like, what more can you really do with the game? Like, I feel like the game's kind of like, I don't know what else they do.
I hate those kind of statements. That sounds like the assholes back at the turn of the 19th century saying everything that could be invented has already been invented. What more can we make? Like, that's too limited. You don't know.
Well, I know. That's what I'm saying. It has the potential to, but I don't know the history of this company. And so then it's very hard.
I think they're relatively new. I don't think they've released.
They could take the money and run. I mean, they got millions. Like, why would they continue to like?
They
realistically,
got hundreds of millions.
Yeah, like they could just stop. They could just retire. Like,
who would have known Palworld 1 month ago? Nobody.
Right.
Yeah, the game has been out for 3 years. It's been in development. People have known about this game. Apparently, I had never heard of it.
Okay, I'm just saying that. Literally 1 month ago, this was on nobody's radar. Anywhere.
Which is, again, it's one of the reasons. If it wasn't free, I wouldn't have bought it, honestly. Or if it wasn't free, I wouldn't have played it. Sorry. Yeah, I didn't buy it.
I get you.
Another one of those things where I would be FOMO'd. I would be the opposite of FOMO'd. What's the opposite of FOMO'd?
Buyer's remorse.
Sure. I wouldn't have bought it because I know that it wouldn't have lived up to the hype.
He's resistant to follow the crowd, is what he's saying. I don't know.
Yeah, because everybody, I'm reluctant to just like, again, like it's like with the Baldur's Gate situation. I don't want to just the moment it like everybody's like, oh, it's the best game I've ever played. It's the second coming of Jesus Christ video game. Oh my god! And the moment I hear that, I'm just like, okay, calm down. There's something going on where like people are just like, they're hyped about it now, but like a month from now, like, is it really still that good? So I waited for Baldur's Gate, and then Palworld, I would have done the same thing. Had it not been free on the Xbox.
The word you're looking for, there is a term for.
Lay it on me. It's German.
I was looking for it.
But it's them.
The opposite of FOMO. What's it?
Patient.
Sure. Yeah, the fear of missing out and then being patient. Yeah, sure. Yeah, I'm just patient about some games. Now, some games I don't have.
I'm generally patient too, and I try to take. I'm a centrist. Somebody called me. I think maybe been Richie Dubs even called me that. Said that I'm a centrist. That I don't like to be extreme in any direction. And I know it's not a sexy viewpoint, but I find it to be, in general, it's a very Taoist sort of yin and yang Zen kind of place to be more in balance. That, hey, yeah, there are going to be some good things, some bad things. Let's not take an extreme approach to anything, and let's see where things lie. So that I think it helps you see things with a clearer head when you're more centrist with things. And I think that whether you're, because I mean the opposite of really of FOMO is more or less not so much patient, but more being slow to respond would be more like that you are a procrastinator. You procrastinate to where even when things are obvious, that would be the opposite of buying things before you're proven good. Then even after they're proven good, if you're not buying, then you're procrastinating. So really being patient is not exactly correct. But at any rate, when I was just saying Palworld, I think it's going to have some legs. Whatever they've got wrong with their glitches and whatnot, it's fun enough for people to actually log in and spend hundreds of hours on it already. I think that it's certainly crushing the shit out of Diablo 4 at the moment, which is a AAA
Oh yeah,
title.
well, I mean that's just
struggling.
that is like a slow burning ship. It's not. I think it's just
so
gonna,
bad. It's so fucking bad.
Speaking of updates and developer attention on full release products or even in release products, the newest season just got an update so that the traps have been neutered to quite an extent so that you can, for almost all intents and purposes, run through them. So it seems
I don't even know what
there's
you're
a lot
talking
more than
about.
that, but yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, they basically said, oh shit, they didn't like season 3. Our jobs are in jeopardy. Oh, the CEO is, or the president of the company is quitting. The one that said he'd have to be dragged out. And dude, mass layoffs, trust me. That was a knee-jerk
I
reaction.
don't even know what this season is.
Let's hit that dopamine. They're giving away everything at the moment. They said that like the pets are one-shotting bosses, and they went from being like absolutely pointless to one-shotting
dog shit.
Well, they're not dog shit anymore. And then they also made everything essentially a loot pinata. You used to like one pearl would give you 3 charges, and you need all these charges in order to get all the chests. There's like 5 chests, but you can only open X amount if you have X amount of charges on you. Well, instead of doing just 3 charges, now you get 10 charges on it. The traps do less damage. You're less likely to hit. And then basically you can run through there without doing anything in the dungeon and open up all the chests and end up with a net result of the 3 pearls that you started with. So you just basically run and go get chests. And that's essentially giving away the loot. And it's like, okay, that can't possibly lead to bad things where you just give them everything.
Oh, actually, I just thought of something. So going back to Power World, because we don't need to talk about Diablo 4 anymore.
Okay.
So one of the cool things that so there's these are separate points, but one of the cool things is going to be the modding community. One of the greatest things that I've had with Valheim is a really, really good game on its own, but then when you add mods to it, it is a significantly better game. And you can upgrade the texture packs. You can do all kinds of really cool things that brings the game, in my opinion, better. Like I don't like the low graphics of Valheim. I really wish it was better graphics. I can't stand. I use
like
texture
it hasn't loaded yet.
Yeah. It's just kind of like the shaders haven't loaded.
Yeah.
So yeah, I just download texture packs and just put those on there. Shader packs, texture packs, make the game look better. Yeah. Now Power World doesn't need that because it already looks good. But what there is good mods for is what they can do is they can add more things via mods. So I actually think the modding community will take the game farther than the developers, but I hope not. But if not, then the modding community will take over. We've already got mods to put tits on the Pokemon, apparently. I mean, the pals, apparently. Apparently that's a thing. I guess they want boobs on Patella. What was it? Patella? It was like some plant thing. It's weird. I don't know what.
Look, the Dirty Birdies.
No, Lavander's not part of it. I don't understand it. She's like the love Pokemon, but she's not. There's 3 Pokemon or pals in this mod.
You're
apparently,
saying that we're gonna get pals with benefits.
I guess.
Wow.
Maybe that's what they should call the. They should call that mod. They should call that. That's a good name. If you put pals with benefits as the mod name, I think you're rocking off. I don't even know what it's called. I haven't looked it up. I haven't looked into modding yet.
I think you should make a video and title it that, and then go over the mods. At any rate,
and then
I don't think you can do that on YouTube because they're actually full boobs. Like they're not like.
He could do like a black bar.
They do have grass. They have grass over the nipples, so maybe it's okay. I actually don't know.
I mean, honestly,
all I'm saying is he can cover it.
This is the best thing to ever happen to furry community in the.
Oh yeah, the fucking furry community are loving it.
Oh, they've sold more.
You know what? Get the views, Pat.
Boxes.
I think Pat, would be our best reactionary guy.
Our scapegoat.
Yeah, right.
our good reaction guy. He
so
just has
the
great.
worst thing is I've been sober for days on end, so this is just me being me.
That's awesome. It's fine.
That's good news.
But getting back to some cardboard.
So
we have the super drop coming out on the 5th at 9 Pacific time. So
you got it.
9 a.m. Pacific, so to be noon Eastern. Check it out. See if it's for you. I wouldn't look for value there. I think that the value train is quickly grinding to a halt within Magic, period. And I would say that expect a lot more of like what you're seeing, huh?
I completely disagree. I think it's going the
Okay.
opposite direction.
I
I think
you're wrong.
it's flattening and it's going back up. I think the value of cards will become more as long as they continue to lower their print runs and make the things valuable again. It just depends on if they don't flood the market or not.
I'm not saying
Supply
it's
and
crashing.
demand
What I'm saying is they're flattening it out to where it's not a value train, right? That you're not expecting Shieldreds and things to be in products in one rings. But I think you're going to see more like Karlov's Manor, right? You're going to see more like this secret lair drop where it's not huge value inside the secret layers, to where they are flattening out the value more, so that it's not. I think that era of Magic is sort of dying, and I think a lot of YouTube content creators are going to suffer for it because it's not going to be very sexy to say, "Hey, look, you get $100 in cards for $100."
So,
I think that's
speaking of
that's the
interesting
direction we're
things
gonna
in, cardboard, I'm not a huge Flesh and Blood player myself, but I was checking out somebody's stream earlier, and it just so happened down in Hartford, Connecticut this weekend, there's another calling. So
Yeah.
this is for the new set Heavy Hitters coming out. This is their big release to the public, and I believe players there are getting to see it in full release before anybody else. And there's actually 20 grand USD up for grabs. So they're actually doing a pretty lively tournament scene still in Flesh and Blood. So if you're up for organized play and you want to be battle hardened, go win some prizes, get some points, play mats, foils, and each person can win up to 2K. So
I think Battle Hardened is a format.
yes.
I have no
it's
idea.
kind of like their tournament play.
I know that the gold foils that are there, they typically go for a significant higher premium than any other card.
Crazy expensive, yeah.
They're like cold foils on crack.
Yeah, but
I
you know
want
what
to
I
play
always
more
love
Flesh
looking
and
at?
Blood, but I'm just kind of I don't know.
I want to look at the
busy
box
doing
prices. That just fascinates me because I think they've just been hovering. Like, are they still at that price, Pat? Do you know? I've been looking at. I do have some updates on Lorcana when we get past this.
Right now they're $81.
I'm talking about the average price of boxes, not just like the recent ones. Like that's the upcoming set. I don't even know if that's out, but let's just take a look at sealed. Can we just look at like sealed overall? Yeah, there we go. $60 for the booster boxes.
Sealed.
So it seems
From what
like
I
that's where they have
understand,
settled. You have it low to high, I guess. Oh, and you got rid of sealed. What are you doing, Pat?
he doesn't know. He's freaking out.
I'm freaking out, man.
He is freaking out, man. This is sober, Pat.
Yeah,
Look at
freaking out,
that.
he doesn't know.
First
He's
edition.
not
Look at
hardened.
that. Look at how far the Crucible has fallen. Oh wow, is that the alpha? Hold on, go back up a little bit. So I do have a Crucible, and I do have the hero decks from Wrath. Those have really dropped. Holy shit!
A Monarch case of first edition, $319. What on earth?
Wowza.
Woo, I might buy a case for that low. Holy fuck, that's
honestly,
low.
that would be just a really fun opening experience too. Because those are the good packs. For a while, Flesh and Blood was doing paper packs, and honestly, I hated
I haven't
that
opened
shit.
them.
They make such a huge mess. I went through a bunch of I want to say it was Outsiders, I think it was. Whatever the freaking dragon one was. Oh, Uprising. That was
yeah.
annoying as shit. Made such a huge mess.
I want
What the?
I mean,
fuck is
I like
that?
the
A
paper
judge
packs
stack
because they're
for
recyclable, right?
$225? Hold on. What the hell is that?
That's
What's
a judge
that?
promo pack. They're doing the similar thing that like WotC used to do, where they actually like take care of their judges.
Oh wow!
Six
So this is
random
something that
cards.
really isn't intended to be for sale.
Yeah. This isn't something like widely open to the public, really.
Oh wow! Look at that Tales of Aria. Woo!
Yeah, well, that's unlimited. First edition. Oh, it's actually first edition is cheaper than unlimited. That makes 0 sense.
Yikes.
I have three cases of Tales of Aria. I'm really glad they're at 208 when I spent like I don't even know. I can't remember. I don't want to remember. I'll block it out.
Monarch first edition. under
Oh
70.
wow! Look at the history packs all the way down to $89. Those were hovering at 100 for the longest time.
Yeah.
Dude, I'm pissed. That you remember when I opened my box and I got that crazy card that was what were they? The cold foil.
Oh,
I got a Kofel card. It was the Findel Tunic.
yeah.
It was at like 200. Well, it's not anymore. It's now $69.
69.
I should have sold it when I had the chance. I got fucked.
That's one of the interesting things about Flesh and Blood secondary market is because of the rotation in their constructed play happening so quickly as tournaments evolve, the meta changes, and some of the most played cards, the highly sought after ones like Findel's Spring Tunic you had, just go out of style. They're just not really the play piece.
Well, no, it's still played. The original one's 150, but the problem is that it's been reprinted 4 times, which is
Right,
bullshit. It's been reprinted in Bright Lights,
Yeah,
History Pack,
reprinting
Welcome to
doesn't
Wraith,
hurt card
and Crucible of
prices at
War.
all.
Well, the original's
Yeah,
still pricey. The original's still
Shit.
150.
Well, go to Wraith Unlimited at 67. Wow, that would be a fun experience.
Which is out of print as well, by the way. These are all out of print. They're never reprinting.
I mean, I think what this is
Oh,
showing is sort of the oh god, I have a case of that too.
I didn't like it. I don't like
the
circus.
arbitrage. This is what Rudy talks about when he talks about arbitrage. This is showing the real demand. Oh, 44. Go back up. $44 for Tales of
Unlimited box. Yeah.
Woo! Well, that's unlimited, but yeah.
You're rushing it. Like I said, I wanted to see the box.
If the case
prices
is
'cause this
200,
always-
the single boxes are cheaper.
Now, if you want to, staying on
For
the
the
hype train, and let's point the finger at Lorcana, my baby. The Into the Inklands is already starting to drop in price, and it's not released yet. Does anybody know what the release date is? I don't. But those were hovering at like. Can we look at the price graph on that?
Release
Those are
date
like
is
170.
February 23rd.
Yeah, look at that drop off in just the last like month and a half.
Yeah.
Not
Wow.
even.
Wow. That's $80.
Yeah.
229.
So,
141.
Hopefully
Holy shit.
this will stabilize. Maybe at like that 120 price point, but I'll be waiting to buy this one as well. I will buy it.
Yeah,
when it-
me too, Bob. DuckTales, Tailspin, and Treasure Planet. Like, are you fucking kidding me? Like, this is childhood shit. Like,
I will
grew
definitely
up
buy a
playing
case
it.
of this
Yeah.
when it flatlines, and I I'll wait and see. Hopefully,
Good.
like it
I'm gonna
seems like
go
they
over
have
to
a
my buddy's house,
threshold
we're gonna
around
get,
120.
You know, all lit up, and we're gonna listen to DuckTales playing on the TV, taking care of his kids, and we're gonna open Lorcana and have like a blast of a time. Like this is such a product made for me. Yeah.
And the Rise of the Floodborn seems to have stabilized around 120 a box. So that seems to be like they might want to get 143 for the MSRP, but the arbitrage will set the price. At whatever the market will bear. And in this particular case, I think that it's going to be roughly for now, unless they reprint the shit out of the first chapter again. The $200 and up is where it's going to go. I'm glad actually to see the Into the Inklands come down, because that's like the no, it's not dying. As a matter of fact, I think that we're going to see a bigger year for growth. Again, I pointed out long ago. I said that this is not a product that anybody should be speculating on. That's not how that goes, right? It needs to survive at least. Some people, I was watching somebody saying, oh, once they get past that third set, it's smooth sailing. Yeah, tell that to MetaZoo, which we haven't even discussed yet today.
I have tabs open. I'm ready. I'm ready for MetaZoo.
But as soon as I get through this little rant here, I'm still going to stick with, if you notice the troves, if you're going to like speculate on anything, I still say the troves are where it's at. And I'm going to explain that real quick. So when it comes to the troves, if things get reprinted, which is what they did in the first chapter, they did not reprint the trove. And I'll tell you why. If you look at the contents of the trove, did they have another tab with the contents by chance? Oh, you can just see it right down there, the content. So in order to reprint that, they don't get to just go back to the printer and say, hey, print off X amount more packs so that we can make X amount more boxes. They have to get the card dividers printed up again. They have to get the storage box printed up again. They have to get the counter dice printed up again. They have to get the lore counter printed up again. They have to get the special packaging for the outside printed up again. So it's not as simple as spinning up the printers again to just print more draft boxes, which is clearly where they're going to print things. I would say Lorcana's in a very healthy spot. I think where Lorcana is going to face more challenges is the fact that it's a licensed IP, right? So anything can happen to a game that has a licensed IP.
It's
Disney
interesting
could
you
yank
say
that IP at any moment.
It's interesting that you say that, because I can think of a pretty new, a recent game that was not dealing with licensed IP issues. And the issue they dealt with was nobody wanted to play it, it seemed. Everybody thought it was just a big hype scheme. Matt, why don't you continue that story since you got the tabs open? MetaZoo. I mean, this was just...
So for those of you that aren't aware, MetaZoo is no longer a game. Well, I guess it's still a game, but
yeah.
What's the
It's
company
not-
who makes this game? Is it just called MetaZoo?
Let's back that truck up. There's a lot of people who don't even know what MetaZoo is. So MetaZoo is a trading card game that hit the scene about 3 years ago.
March
And
2021.
Rudy was pushing the shit out of this game. He went and interviewed the maker of this game. He sold all kinds of packages with this game. And I'll be honest with you, I think the people that are holding on to this are holding on to a poopy popsicle. But it's a relatively recent game. I don't know how many sets there are, but they've made quite a few releases. I don't know how many.
Let's see here. It started in 2020, so you're right, about 3 years ago. The thing about the thing about that's strange about MetaZoo was there was like the reason why it's called MetaZoo. So zoo is referencing like the type of like creatures kind of akin to Pokemon or Yu-Gi-Oh or Digimon. Like they're like these like weird looking creature things. But the meta part is like the cards are balanced around things that are around you. So like there's like a card that's like if it's raining outside, you get +1 damage. If you're wearing a hat, it gets +1 damage, or it gets +1 health. If you're stuff like that, just like that's what it's called, the meta, like in the metaverse, I guess, kind of similar, like that kind of situation. So it was more kooky and funny, and the artwork was kind of whatever. Is there like I don't know, you can kind of see it on the boxes where they're just kind of like,
it's definitely highly stylized.
Yeah.
I've only bought one single product of MetaZoo, and it was it was this one, or maybe I think it was Native, maybe, or Cryptid. Cryptid Nation, whatever this is, I think. So yeah, it has gotten since the release, or not since the release, since the announcement of it being no longer in product or print anymore, it has significantly fallen off the face of the planet, which is to be expected. People are trying to burn through their yeah, from $80 to 40, 20, 25. Well, okay, it's shipping, but yeah, $40, half the value. People are trying to burn through their shit. Now, it is possible, I guess. Certain things actually have gone up in value, which is interesting. I don't exactly know what this is, but
it's also
Kurami's Cryptid Carnival, whatever the hell that means.
That's a case.
Yeah, but it's going up in value. So I think that people are speculating that some things
of that product, though,
some things could actually maintain value, because sometimes that happens when a game goes under. It's no longer in print. People want to hold on to the best selling sets. That one's wow.
I think it's far too early to make any kind of call, but typically what happens with these games, once you stretch it out more than 2 years beyond their closure date, they just tend to lose value. Now, it would be a great one if you want to bring up Star Wars Destiny, because that's been closed down, what, about 2.5, 3 years now?
Oh. I'm surprised this is going up, because they're talking about reprinting and stuff. One second. There was a thing about the One Piece where apparently they're talking about going back and reprinting the older sets. I want to click on. I don't actually know of any. I don't know what. I have
zero faith in One Piece. I'll be honest with you. I would use extreme caution with One Piece, folks. The only reason it's making a splash is somehow it got a bunch of money.
Yeah, wrong.
It's called One Piece.
I don't even know what the first set of One Piece is. But anyways, I'm curious to see if they go up, and like they're all going up in value. But again, it's more of they've been short printing a lot, and now they plan to go back and reprint, and that could be a problem. So I don't know. I assumed it'd go
Again,
down because they're talking about reprinting it, but it
and
seems like it's not.
and I know that some of you in the audience love sorcery, but all of these I would add an extreme amount of caution.
I feel like the
With
sorcery
these
books went
highly
down, didn't they?
speculative. One Piece can be huge, but you say that in a sense that it's huge with like some audience. When you say huge, you got to be talking about things like Disney. Like that truly is huge. It's a global presence. Like
This is pretty healthy for sorcery. This isn't
even
too bad.
Pokemon
It's a
is
good looking card.
huge, right? But when you say something like One Piece is huge, not with
it
people
is-
with money.
It is definitely being hyped. Well, I mean, I don't know. I mean, every single box I've clicked on has been like a skyrocket going up. Like,
I
mean,
think
this one's
that
flattened
he
out,
makes
but
a solid point. That
But
this
once
is
upon a time, you
probably
could have
not-
pointed at Flesh and Blood the same
this
way.
one's not. So this is the first one that I've clicked on is all over the place. What the fuck? What happened? What?
I
Market
think
price
that this isn't
2,500,
so much
unopened
marketed
6,400.
towards an American audience, though. I think that that's probably one of the biggest things about this. It's made by Bandai and Bushi Road, from what I understand. So,
Yeah.
like, this is definitely
Okay.
made for an Eastern audience mostly, and whatever weebs just absolutely love One Piece. And
I
mean,
wish I
obviously,
enjoyed
yeah,
One Piece, but the stretchy pirate man just doesn't sound like a fun anime to watch. I'm sorry. It just looks like garbage. I don't.
Okay. Again, just like I'm tempering Lorcana, saying it's got to last at least 5 years before you can give it any credence whatsoever. MetaZoo didn't make it that far. Flesh and Blood, this is about its 5-year mark, and look at where it's at. I wouldn't say it's crushing it. All right,
It's crushing
this
it
is
in the
a
European
perfect
market, I've
case-
been told.
This is
Are
a
these what
perfect
Are these what the boxes
case
look like?
study. What? No, this is Star
Yeah.
Wars Destiny.
Yeah. No shit. I said,
Yeah.
are these what the boxes look like?
Yeah, they're like
look
all
weird.
because well,
I get it. They have
they,
dice in it.
they have a dispenser at the bottom and they have dice in them because the packs are kind of lumpy bumpy. But what I'd like to point out, like if you go back to the one page, just from like a meta look at it, so the boxes have drifted down to around a almost universal price, somewhere between 40 and $100, right? So that's where they have been. That's where they're going to stay. Now there's one box. If you look at the very first one, which is out of stock there, and if you look at the actual price on that one, if you go back, you have to go back one because it's the only
There's
one
no
that has a price.
Super true hillbilly.
Right.
Super
Well,
But I'll
price is wrong
explain,
'cause there's no
this
listing.
in a second. So in the corner case is kind of like what Matt was talking about. That covert missions, that was in the process of being released when they shuttered it, right? So there was very little of this product that ever hit the market, right? And these have always been 200 plus a box if you can even find it. And so it's going to be one of those products in this line. Like I would bet they all kind of settle around that $60 mark, even in a dead game. So this is, lots of different things to discuss here with this one, but I think it's a perfect case study. It was a hugely popular game. Was causing all kinds of buzz when it came out, and for a while it was selling very strong. And these boxes were many of them were in the 150 plus range to get your hands on at times, especially on pre-release with all the hype. But once the game shuttered, and these are boxes that are sitting around, and I got about 12, 15 boxes sitting on my shelf. But this is what happens to a dead game. Is it truly dead? I'd like to see, can you let's click on, fine, even that one. What's the activity? Like the sales activity?
I mean, can you call a sale? I mean, it's like one purchase every like month.
Yeah, can you stretch out, view more sales data? And
Also,
that's what I'm
there's not
talking
much-
about. So when we say, yeah, that's awesome. That's all the sales data they have. So can we say that a game dies?
Yep, 4.
Not really. They don't die. But even though these boxes are at these $40, $50 price,
3.
they're only going to sell, arbitrage occasionally, right? Is something really worth 40 or $50 if it takes you 6 months to sell the fucking box?
1.
I mean, when
Right.
it sells, I guess that's what it's worth.
Right, but what I'm saying is games don't really die, and all these people saying that, Magic can't die, Magic won't die. I agree with that, but I think it'll look very similar to this, that you won't have massive amounts of transactions. Once they shuttered the doors, people have bought all their boxes. Like I bought 15 boxes when Destiny closed down because I got them at a good deal. But I haven't bought any since, right? Because I don't have occasion to. Even though I've introduced the game to Matt, Matt likes the game. We haven't had occasion to sit down and crack a box and play draft.
Yeah,
Right.
it
That's
was- yeah,
that's
exactly.
Richie. That's sort of like the moniker of this show. How do you define what a dead card game is?
Yeah.
They still sell boxes. People still play the game. What does that mean?
What is that?
This is Grand Archive. This is the new set that they just came out with.
Another set I just can't get behind.
I'm curious to see the sale. Okay, decent amount of sales. No,
Oh,
that's
I
not bad at all.
heard, Matt, that they're doing another one of those, another set for that superhero game.
Alpha
Alpha Flash.
Flash. Yeah, are they on here yet? No, they're still not on here. I'm surprised Battle Spirit Saga's on here, but Alpha Clash ain't. Maybe because it's made by Bandai and they've just got the license already. From what I understand, you have to pay like a $10,000 license for TCG to get your product on here.
I heard
Something like
75.
75,000 or 7,500?
75K.
Holy! fuck.
I like that definition, Richie, because it's something definitive that you can
No
point
longer
to.
in production and no further support. Yeah.
Like I like that. So in that sense, do I think Magic can die? Absolutely, 100%. I think any of these games can die. Lorcana's in there too. I think Lorcana is far more likely to die than Magic.
$130.
Wait, I don't even know.
But
what
I
I'm
would say that
looking at.
many of
This
these
is one of the games we
have,
found
like, a
out
risk
at. Well, I
factor.
found out at Gen Con. I don't know. I was curious to see what's the following on this game. Are people actually buying this? No, not really.
So that I think that would make a great chart. You know how they always have those like multicolored charts where they have the A tier, S tier, B tier, C tier, D tier, where they rank, different things. We should have that for like a risk tolerance for sets dying, with the definition being going out of print, no longer supported.
Wait, you can buy D&D minis?
Bob, we'll do it as health of a game, A through F tier through S tier, and then we just get a dozen different TCGs. We just go on TCG Player, and
we got to have MetaZoo on there just so we have a easy one.
Of course,
have a gimme softball. But I think that would be appropriate. But we need to do some homework on that. I mean, we need to really get behind the scenes and dot our I's and cross our T's to like really understand it. Like the risk factor of dying, the health of the game.
Alpha Clash is a really
I hear
cool
good
game
things about this. I'm hearing that they're really diving into the lore, and I think they hired somebody I heard recently to help with the lore part of this game.
No, the game is lore first. They actually have a comic book already prior to the game. Like you can buy.
I heard something this week. There was something literally this week where they just mentioned Alpha Clash, and it had specifically to do with the lore. And I was like, oh, that sounds positive.
The ambassador program is back. That's pretty cool. Unrivaled. So this is what you're talking about. Unrivaled. So it's Rising Empire Studio excited to announce the newest set, Unrivaled, releasing May 31st. Okay. So it looks less Alpha Clash and more anime. Weber versus Warcry. So these
What's the other one that we just talked about?
Grand Archive-ish.
Yeah.
What is that? LV Level Up. Okay, I'm like, what is that text?
Level Up Expo. So they're going to a kit.
They have a pre-release kit. That's interesting. That's the first time I think they're going to have a pre-release kit, similar to like Magic.
This is also like their second set, so they're
this is their
trying to do stuff.
I'm glad that they're. I don't know if they're doing good or not. They're still not on. I mean, they're on. This is where I heard about them from, the Covenant. If you're not familiar with who they are, I definitely check them out on YouTube. They're two chill dudes that just explore all kinds of TCGs. They do almost all of them. They'll try it if you got it, they'll try it. So it's a good idea, and even board games as well.
Man,
they were the ones who introduced me into Alpha Clash.
There's a channel called Red Zone Rogue, YouTuber, and he covers a lot of smaller TCGs. And I had heard about this through his channel even before we had gone to Gen Con. Seems like an interesting enough concept for a game. You know, the
I've played it.
superhero-
I have multiple boxes of it. I mean, I've opened 2 boxes, I think, total. It's a good experience of opening. The foils are very, very, very. If you've ever opened up Wilds of Eldraine and you've gotten a glittery confetti card, that's kind of what all their foils look like. The very like over the top gold letters, sparkly as hell. I don't know if they warp. I'd have to go and grab some foils. That'd be nice if they didn't, because you know, how are they doing on events? New Year, New Clash Hawk. So they're North Carolina. We've got online Amsterdam, New York, Colorado Springs, Colorado.
Seems like they're doing stuff
online. Amsterdam, New York, Colorado Springs, online. So Indianapolis, okay. Is this like maybe Gen Con? No, it's February. It's not Gen Con. Oh, these are all like pretty like close together. These are all February. I thought these would be like a month apart, but these are all within February. So a lot of online events, which is cool.
Yeah.
Looks like a lot of free events as well. You can just jump in, $5 free webcam event. Interesting. Yeah, I've played the game multiple times with some friends. I like that they have like a ranking system. That's interesting. Marcus Trescos, first place. Oh, this is his ELO score. 95% win rate. Holy fuck, this guy. Wait, 19 matches. That's still pretty good. That's a pretty good win rate. And it looks like his this is Torque. Torque is kind of busted. So if he's playing Torque, then that makes sense. Torque is like this it's basically like mono red burn, but like on crack. But yeah, the cards are cool. The game is cool. One of the situations that I'm constantly in is that there are a lot of good card games out that I just can't play because, you know, you have to find you have to like kind of go out of your way to go play. Like if I wanted to go play these events, I could do it, sure. But like at the same time, I'd rather just play with friends. And right now we're playing Frosthaven, and then we're going to play some Magic, and then maybe we'll play some other games. But it's like hard. You have to wait. Not enough time. Baldur's Gate 3 to play, Pal World to finish. Like there's so many things.
Talking to cardboard, maybe. All depends on what you guys are made of out there.
Sometimes we talk to cardboard. I yell at my cards quite frequently. Damn you. But before we wrap up tonight, I wanted to cover a couple of quick things. Matt, you might want to pull up something on the Misery Gauntlet. I'll cover the Diablo 4 we got here coming up starting on February 6th, 10 a.m. Pacific time. This is for all seasonal and Eternal Realms. They have something, I'm going to assume this has to do with Chinese New Year, very Chinese looking stuff going on here. And there's going to be these shrine type things that you got to awaken. There's a whole video on it here that you can watch. And essentially what it's going to do is while they're active, you'll earn 50% bonus XP multiplicative and 30% increased movement speed with a plethora of buffs while earning Ancestors' favor and reputation. I believe at some point in here, it also talks about you're going to get increased loot as well. So essentially, you can go through this whole thing here and just be aware that there's going to be a bunch of different shrine events going on throughout. It's a limited time event. I was trying to look and see if it you're going to get a bunch of like cosmetics, I think is like mostly what's going to happen, what you can get for the loot. But it's going to be really the biggest thing is going to be like the bonus XP. In my opinion, bonus XP and reputation. I guess I don't know what reputation is for in Diablo 4, but it's through February 20th. So you got roughly 2 weeks there to enjoy bonus XP and movement speed. So level your characters up early on in the season. So that's kind of cool. You have a chance to have an Ancestor Favor dungeon, which guarantees Lunar Shrine spawn for that dungeon. In addition to the extra shrines, you'll also receive 10% bonus glyph XP, which once the dungeon is complete. All Nightmare Dungeon sigils with the Ancestor's Favor affix will retain it once the event has ended. So you get something that's kind of unique to this event, but that's coming up starting on February 6th at 10 a.m. Matt, do you know what's going on with this whole misery gauntlet thing?
I do. If you're not familiar with the gauntlet, share screen 1. Basically, the misery gauntlet is actually. I want to look at this one. Let me go back.
And this is already active, right? This started yesterday.
Yeah, I believe so. It started at
9 p.m. yesterday, I believe.
Sure, we'll go with that. So basically, if you're not familiar, Path of Exile is a action RPG game that you can play. And there is a Misery Gauntlet. Gauntlet is basically just a amped up version of the game with prizes. So it's what's called a private league. So anybody in the game, you can make your own private league if you wanted to, and you can choose from a plethora of different options. You can make monsters more difficult. You can make them take less damage. You can't do any positives. They're all negatives. So you can only make the game harder. But it's in a private league, so meaning like normally you'd have like the standard league and then the what do they called, the parent league. Basically the league that's currently out right now is the Affliction League, and you can make your private league of it. And Zizaran does this thing where he does these gauntlets where he makes it extremely difficult, but then you can play for prizes. It's in hardcore only, so if you've never played Path of Exile before, I would not recommend playing this because you will get your shit pushed in. Because basically you have different modifiers, and they're able to do it by zone, which is pretty interesting. I think this is the first time they've ever been able to like customize it to this extensiveness. You're able to modify the campaign to where through the campaign they take 30% less damage. They do increase the damage, increased attack speed, movement speed, and cast speed. They fire additional projectiles. They have extra physical damage as extra chaos, and then monsters penetrate your resistances. So this is all bad. Nothing is good. Nothing is a buff. But what they're trying to do is they're trying to make it so that like all the people that are like all the people that think the game is too easy, this is a way to challenge them. And since it's hardcore, if you die, you die. So don't want that. They want it to be difficult. So what they did is they made it so that the campaign is difficult. They made it so that the white maps are way less difficult. If you notice, there's less lines. Less lines equals gooder. But then as you go into the yellow maps and red maps, this is like the end game. As you get higher level maps, they become more difficult again. And then Uber bosses, they get juiced to hell. So the interesting thing about where's the area of effect?
Wow, deal 80% increased damage. Whew.
Yeah, so Uber bosses, they typically can one-shot most characters with like a lot of their abilities. Not with like their auto attacks, but with their the actual like charged up abilities, their telegraphed abilities, we'll call it. Having 80% extra damage on that, there are some characters that can face tank those abilities after getting like enough gear and whatnot. I don't think you can face tank anything in this gauntlet. I think you have to just avoid all of it. Ziz apparently wanted 100% increased AoE, but they said no, which is interesting. But because basically they said that with a combination of consume an additional portal on entry, basically normally you get 6 portals to do the boss. Now you only get 3. And they said that with 100% increased AoE, every skill shot or every telegraphed ability is a full screen and you cannot evade it. So you just die. So there's no actual way to beat it. You'd have to log out. So you'd only have 3 portals. You'd have to log out from every channeled ability and then you just lose. You can't do it. Another thing about this that's crazy is that Uber bosses typically have a less damage taken on them already. I think it goes from 80% to 90%. So like depending on which boss you're fighting, it's anywhere between they take 80% less damage to 90% less damage. So they're taking 40% less damage on top of that, which is kind of wild. This might be the first gauntlet that nobody can complete. There have been people that have completed every gauntlet so far, but we'll see. This might be the one that they cannot. And then this is the cool thing about it is you get prizes. Or you have the chance of winning prizes. One of the cool things is you get it from, there's a random drawings for a bunch of different things. So just reaching specific levels, you have the chance of winning, like you reach level 90, you have a chance of winning an RTX 4070 Super. It is a random draw, so you just kind of get your entry in there. But luckily there's enough support in the gauntlet system and the private system is they're able to they'll have track of everything. Like if you reach level 90, you're good. they'll be able to see that. Reach level 95, 4080 Super. That's a brand new graphics card. That's $1,000 graphics card. And then a random other things: mice, keyboards, NVMe storage.
Because you're going to
also
need
you'll
a
get
fancy graphic card like that to run all those particle effects.
Dude, I have a 4080 and my game still lags. So I don't even think a good graphics card can. I don't even think I've seen 4090s get crippled by this game. There are just, I don't know if it's not well optimized or if it's just the technology doesn't exist. There's just so much shit going on. But yeah, a lot of random draws, a lot of cool stuff, a lot of different MTX microtransactions. These are like the just strictly visual, but a lot of different drawings for that. And
how long is this event?
It's like a week, I think. Maybe it's probably 2 weeks. Maybe it's more than that. Okay, I know there's going to be a freaking patch. I was just going to log in and look at the event real quick. $25,000 in donations. That's pretty cool. I think there's a Spotify deal as well, or not Spotify, a Shopify deal with Displate. So there might be some deals with Displate.
Because I read the article and it said set to launch on February 2nd, 9 p.m.
It launches in 1 day and 4 hours.
It already launched.
So Monday?
Well, it says Misery Gauntlet start time, 1 day, 4 hours. I don't know what to tell you.
Oh, it's counting up.
So this means it's been up for 1 day and 4 hours?
Yeah.
Interesting. Why wouldn't they just say it started already? But I see
what's his name? Dark microtransactions. I'd like to ask him to be a guest on our show. I like him. I like his approach to things. Seems like a well thought out guy. But I think he already did a video on just getting crushed in the Misery Gauntlet. Darth microtransactions.
Definitely got a bunch of games to play.
Yeah.
I actually just picked up an Oculus Quest 3. So I've been jamming out in VR for the last couple of days.
Get along with my daughter,
but I haven't done it yet. Oh, and there's one last thing I want to talk about. Last Epoch. This is another game that I don't know if many people know about. I mean, it's decently popular enough. They are finally releasing the game. It's been in pre-release or I guess the standard kind of crap that they've been doing for most games nowadays.
Yeah.
Alpha or pre-alpha or a beta or whatever you want to call it. Open beta, I think was the best probably terminology for it. It's been in less than 1.0 for a very long time and is now finally launching on the 21st of February. So that is what I will be doing on the 21st of February. And I will say they are doing something that is, in my opinion, revolutionary for the trading system. Mm-hmm. On January 11th, they announced the item factions. This is, like I said, this is actually already changing. Hasn't even come out yet. It's already changing how GGG, which is the developers of Path of Exile, is changing how they will go forward and do trading in PoE 2. Like they're actually changing the meta of the game, which is like pretty awesome. So basically, they have these factions. I don't know how to use their site. I just want the news. Can you just give me the news?
Just give me the news.
Just give me just like the they have this new trading system that they're called factions, and they're basically able to, you get to pick how you want to opt in. So if you like SSF, Solo Self-Found, Merchants Guild, here we go. This is what we're talking about. And it's like, hey, is it because of this? Yeah, I guess I don't know what I'm downloading. I think I deleted something of PoE, and it probably needed that. I went through and I culled a lot of disk space yesterday. So the merge, you get to when you like play through the game. It's like a standard action RPG game, so you're just killing monsters, getting loot, right? They wanted to add in trading, but they didn't want to like follow the same kind of path that all the other games are doing, because there's unhealthy things. Like in Path of Exile, the trading is unhealthy. It's not great. Bob is experiencing this, where you message somebody that they have the item listed. They have the item listed for a price, and you message them for that price, and they just ignore you. And then you like message the next guy, and they just ignore you. And then you message the next guy, and they just ignore you. And then you message the next guy, and they just ignore you. And that's PoE trading in a nutshell. You message 10 people, you get one response. So this is a way to kind of combat the annoyances of that kind of style of trading. If you don't have an auction house, they don't want it. Pee-wee doesn't want an auction house, but we actually are getting an auction house in Pee-wee 2 now because of this, with some caveats. But yeah, Merchants Guild, basically you get to choose, TLDR, you get to choose between two factions. Merchants Guild is the way to trade. Circle of Fortune is the way to farm. So if you want to do SSF, Solo Self-Found, you do the Circle of Fortune. It improves the quantity and quality of items that drop, and you have like prophecies that allow you to like kind of target farm things. Now the cool thing about this is that it's not split like in Path of Exile. If you choose to go Solo Self-Found, you are on your own server. You're like you can't go trade with anybody. You can't go play with anybody. You are solo. In this, both merchants can play together. And as the items drop, depending on what faction you are, it's tagged, like the actual item itself is tagged by the faction. Whatever faction you are, it's tagged by that faction. So with Circle of Fortune, you cannot trade. So any of the items that drop as Circle of Fortune, you can't trade those. But if you're the Merchants Guild, you can trade those gear with other people that are also part of the Merchants Guild. And you gain faction with them, or you gain reputation with them. As you, I don't know how to do it, but there's ways to gain faction reputation with them. Probably just playing the game, as you are those factions, and as you get these rankings with them, you get more and more reward, and you're able to switch between them freely. Like you're able to just kind of bounce between the two, whichever you feel like playing with that. So if you want to do some trading, you flip over, but all the items are still tagged as that faction. So it limits, like you can't just go like one faction, farm a bunch of gear, then flip over to the other faction and then trade it all.
All right, Richie, have a good night.
It's pretty cool. And this here as well. The more you play with your friend, you get what's called resonance with them. And no matter what faction you are, you can trade items with your friends as long as you have resonance built with them. So if you find a really cool item off like when they're not playing, you can actually trade the item with them with this resonance, and no matter what faction you are. So like it kind of solves trading for me. Like it's actually, I'm doing a bad way of explaining it maybe, but if you watch the video, I actually think this will change going forward how trading is done in action RPGs for sure, almost certainly. It's cool. Oh, and you're getting a bazaar as well, so you can like post items and you don't have to be there to trade. It's great. That's Last Epoch. Game's really good.
Well, hey, viewers are going to have to stay tuned. Lots of great video games are coming out, so I think that as our enthusiasm shifts from one focus to the next, that the content is definitely going to vary as well. So make sure to let us know in the comment section of each video whether or not you liked it or if you want more of it. So the more you help us, it helps you in the long run as well. So if you want to be part of that kind of community, make sure to subscribe so you get notified when those new videos come out.
Oh, and tomorrow, I probably should have started the stream with this. Tomorrow, we're not playing D&D. We had a few cancellations with people. One person's sick, the other person's not able to make it. I think it's like Super Bowl maybe, or maybe that's next week. Either way, there's not going to be any D&D tomorrow. But what I might do is I might either finish playing Power World, maybe I'll stream that, or I'll do a fresh playthrough of Baldur's Gate, or I'll play Baldur's Gate with my buddy. I'll have to ask him if he's cool with being on stream and actually like live streaming it. He's probably cool with it, but I'll make sure with it if he's okay with that. So maybe some Baldur's Gate, maybe some Power World tomorrow. I'll be live. Come check it out.
Awesome.
I don't know what I'm doing tomorrow, but I think that's going to wrap it up for me tonight. Thanks for tuning in, everybody. Tune in again next week. We have a special guest on deck. I don't want to jinx it, but hopefully that comes to fruition, and we'll have another great guest for y'all to enjoy, hopefully, in the D2R space. Actually, I guess you could say ARPG space. He's a big D2R and PoE player. So tune in next week, and hopefully we'll have another great guest for you. Thanks for tuning in this week. Please remember to do all the YouTube things to help us out. Like, subscribe, membership, all that good jazz, whatever you feel like doing to help if you like what we're doing here. So thanks again, everybody.
Take care, guys.
Later.
Be well. See you next week. Then we dance.